the Unleash Success podcast, where we break down the secrets of success to give you real tools and strategies that get real results. And now, here's your host, Corey Corpodian.
Welcome back to Unleash Success. If you haven't subscribed to our newsletter yet, just go to unleashsuccess.com, enter your email so you can get all the tools and strategies sent directly to you each and every week. Today, we are interviewing Steven Summers, who is the co-founder of Marketplace Superheroes. They teach Amazon fulfillment services, how to make a lot of money using Amazon selling products. Steven himself has generated over $10 million in several years and now has over 4,000 students generating anywhere from $50 to $100 million by using Amazon fulfillment services, selling physical products. And today, we're going to break down his unique strategy so that you can start making money selling products on Amazon. Steven, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here, Corey. Really excited about sharing as much value as I possibly can.
You know, we talked about that. There's some big numbers to be thrown out. And I forgot to mention that you guys started this in 2014. So you've been around for 5 to 6 years. This is not an overnight success. But for you, where did it really start? You know, a lot of people try something, it doesn't really work out. How did you get started in the Amazon fulfillment service business? Sure.
So like our Amazon business actually started back in 2010. I started that with my business partner, Robert. But before that, he had a business selling on Amazon and eBay in the UK for a lot longer than that. So Robert's actually in the market now for close on 20 years now, selling physical products on online marketplaces. But for me, where my story, began was quite some time ago. I was back in 2006, 2007, where I was really just in a job, working as a corporate employee. But I wasn't a corporate employee. I was a government employee. And I was basically filling out forms all day in a computer as a data processor. But like a lot of people who listen to the podcast, I wanted to have freedom. I wanted to be able to have a business that gave me freedom. I read the 4-Hour Workweek like a lot of people did back then. And I really wanted to do something additional with my life. But the problem for me was I had no idea how to start a business other than some ventures I had as a kid where maybe I ran some gigs, maybe I ran some small money making opportunities. It wasn't like I had a business that could basically pay my way. So I again went onto the internet while working in my job and started Googling how to make money online. And like a lot of people, I started finding a lot of somewhat scammy sites out there that were teaching a whole lot of, techniques, should we call them? But a lot of them were really just, teach other people how to be a real estate millionaire or whatever it was. And it was all about becoming an online expert. And it was all about, putting yourself out there. And here I was as a government employee, not really any big business skills per se, even after studying 2 years of college in business. And I did a diploma in marketing at nighttime while working in my job. And I didn't really have any specific skills I could apply to a business. I was clueless. So as I say, kept on Googling around, trying to find a way forward and couldn't. Spent a lot of money, wasted a lot of money, got scammed a few times with crappy products. And basically, I got to a point where I said to myself, how can I build a business where I don't have to be an expert? I don't have to teach anybody anything. And kind of funny, I'm now teaching people stuff, but I don't have to teach people anything. I can sell something I believe in. I can sell something I'd be happy to sell to my family and friends. What would that be? And the answer kind of came after a period of time. It was simply sell physical products, because I didn't have to be an expert online to sell a product. I didn't have to, worry about, is this product going to be a good product or not? I knew I could test it. I knew I could make sure it was good quality. I knew I could feel good about it. And also selling on somewhere like Amazon, what could be more legitimate than Amazon, like the first $1 trillion business in the world? So all those things led me down that path. And again, I started trying to figure it out on my own, like a lot of people do, piecing information together. I actually began looking at eBay. I was told, go to eBay and look at the expired listings on there, and you're going to see opportunities. And it's funny because I started seeing stuff like, climbing rope and all these things were selling well. And I remember when I met my now business partner and initial mentor, Robert, telling him the kinds of products I was finding. He was like, please don't sell climbing ropes. It's incredibly dangerous. Do not do it. So again, I was clueless. That's what I'm really trying to get across here. I didn't have a system for doing anything,
Yeah, I love what you're saying. Like, I mean, that's the story that so many people have, right? You're like, I'm in my job. I'm not really happy. I want more freedom in life. I want to make some money. I want to do something that means something to me.
Yep.
And you start Googling. And then it takes, several years before you figure it out. But I like what you did too. And this is one thing that I talk a lot about. It's just so many people want to be the expert. And, with life coaches and experts, and it's like, all right, so you're 20 years old, 22 years old, and you're the life coach, or, you've been in this business for 3 months and you're suddenly the expert. Everybody was a Bitcoin expert when Bitcoin skyrocketed and they're like, yeah, I made tons of money. I'm like, okay, so you invested, you got lucky, but are you a cryptocurrency expert? No. But instead of saying that you were the expert, you went out and actually did it, built a business, started making money before ever teaching people, which is, I think, kind of like the method that you have to do in order to really teach people to become successful is you got to do it first. So going into Marketplace Superheroes, you guys developed a system. What is it that you looked for to build this from $0 to $10 million over the last 5 years that you've made? What do you look for in a product? And how do you find your niche?
Yeah, it's a great question. And really, it's funny because there's a lot of schools of thought right now when it comes to selling on places like Amazon. So just to kind of begin at the start, we talk about two different models. So you've got what we call the marketplace model, and you've got then the brand model. So the marketplace model is what we typically teach to begin with, which is you go to a site like Amazon, you look for opportunities where you've got a product that is low competition, there is a good opportunity to improve the offer that's already for sale on there. And you simply then kind of play Amazon almost like a stock market where you find opportunities, you improve the offers, and you get them listed on Amazon with your own brand, which you import from China or wherever. You can do them in the US as well, wherever you can find a supplier. So essentially, like, that's the marketplace model at a very base level. The brand model at another level then is I want to build a big brand and use Amazon as just one form of distribution. The reason I cover that early on is because there's a lot of confusion out there. The people out there, they think they're building a marketplace business, but they're kind of building a brand business and vice versa. So we recommend the marketplace business to begin with, the marketplace models, I should say, to begin with, because you're going to Amazon. You're looking for what are people already buying, number one. Then you're asking the question, how can I improve the offers that are already out there? And the way you do that is by looking at custom reviews. That's just one simple way to do it. There's actually a guy called the Amazon Whisperer. You guys can look up. He sold hundreds of millions of dollars of products on Amazon. He's a Jewish guy in New York. And he literally did this. We were already doing this for a long time. And I saw this guy. He was on, I think it was in Forbes or somewhere like that, this guy's article was. But that's kind of the point. We improve the offers that are already out there. We get them listed on Amazon.com in the US and across multiple different Amazon sites. So we're able to sell in the European zone. So UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain. We're able to sell on Amazon.com. We're able to sell in Amazon Canada if we want to. Typically, we focus on Amazon.com, UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain. The reason we can sell in all 5 of those markets on Amazon is because there's something in Europe called the European Fulfillment Network. I don't want to get too deep into that, but at a very basic level, what that means is you can send all your stock that you own, it's your branded product, to one location in Europe, and you can essentially translate the listing and sell that product to multiple people in different countries. So that's kind of the overarching model that we talk about. So when it comes to the niche then, well, the great thing about this business is you can sell in any niche on Amazon when you employ the marketplace model. Because what you're really saying is, where are there opportunities, underserved markets, where I can come in and I can improve the offers that are already out there, and I can simply focus on getting my improved offer in front of more people. So the niche is kind of, I wouldn't say it's irrelevant, but that's, you basically can look at any main category in Amazon and find opportunities that satisfy those few pieces. Now, to go through the entire research system, it would take me literally a couple hours, or certainly an hour, which I don't have the time to do with everybody today. But at another base level, it's important to think of this. Number one, that marketplace model. Then number two, we talk about BEST products. So what that means is a product that is boring, and I mean boring. I'll give you some examples in a sec. Established, in other words, it's been selling for a long time in the world, not like a fidget spinner that just came out for a while and then died off. Because then number three is sustainable. So our fidget spinner, it's not sustainable because clearly it was a fad. It lasted for a short period of time, then it died off. And then the final thing we look for is tangible. It's an actual tangible physical product you can hold in your hand and you can sell. So when we put all that together, we started looking at Amazon. We go to basically, there's 6 main categories we look at. A good example would be the home and kitchen category. The names change all the time, by the way, but the home category is a great place to start. We go in there and we say, right, what are the products that are selling the best right now? The top 100 best sellers. And we never typically sell those because they're always too competitive. But what we do is then we start looking for, well, what are customers also buying when they're looking at these? What are related products customers are looking at? And we start to go further and further down the Amazon rabbit hole, and we begin to find these boring products, these boring opportunities, like, for example, plastic shoe boxes we often talk about. We sold a ton of those. You talk about storage boxes, right? You talk about cedar hangers for taking the moisture out of your wardrobe. Like, these all sound so random, but it's because we're employing a marketplace methodology, and we're finding products that are boring, that are established, that are sustainable and tangible, and they're in multiple different categories. So I know it was a long answer, but that's at a very base level what we're looking at, Corey.
I love it. I love this marketplace concept, the niche, finding the niche, as opposed to building a brand. Because when you have a brand product, you really have to build the brand. You have to build awareness. Where this is finding a specific product that you can sell very quickly. And Amazon always suggests, oh, you bought this. Do you want this as well? Can you give us an example? You said shoe boxes, storage boxes.
Yep.
How did you find shoe boxes as something you sold, if that was what you sold?
Yeah.
How did you go through that method?
Yeah, so basically it's what I said, like you would literally go to Amazon. I'm actually going to do it on my computer while I'm here just so I can literally talk you guys through it. So again, I'm not going to be able to cover everything here, but just I'm going to give you the base level so you can understand what we're doing. So we go to Amazon.com. There's departments. We literally hover over that. We can just click departments. That's going to bring us into where we see every department that's available on Amazon. And so we give like 6 different categories, but I'll just scroll down and look at, say, health and household, as it's called now. That's one. Home and kitchen is another. So you could go to home and kitchen and you could be like, I'm just going to click into the kitchen and dining category, for example. So you click in there and then literally you go in and find the top 100 in kitchen and dining, and you start going through those and saying, number one, could I sell these? Because maybe there's opportunities here you could sell. So number one, we say, could I sell it? So in other words, is it breakable? If so, then I can't sell it, so I shouldn't. Is it hazardous? If so, then I shouldn't sell it. And we start out with the top 100 because we have to start somewhere. So we start making a list of those, and we would click into a product that we're interested in. So I mean, I'm just looking at a base level. We wouldn't sell this, but let's say we saw, I don't know, there's a silicone baking mat here. Well, we know we can sell it because it's not hazardous or anything like that. So then we would simply go to the next level, which is, well, should we sell it? So we would start searching, silicone baking mat. How many people are selling that on Amazon right now? What do the different offers look like? And we have a whole algorithm in our software for what we're looking for, how many listings we're looking for, and stuff like that.
Stephen, I want to just ask a question. Sorry, just to interrupt real quick. You talk a lot about the research, and right now you're literally just on Amazon's website looking at the different things. And you said something about a software. Are there programs out there that people can use to research these products?
Yeah, we don't use software to find them, which is kind of the interesting distinction. We use our software more to basically take inventory of what we've been looking at. Right? So we actually go to Amazon and we would look at that silicone mat, for example, and we would go down and be like, okay, well, what other products are related to this? So customers also viewed, and we might see as we go forward, we'll see more and more different types of products. So you'll see different types of silicone mats. I see here like a pastry rolling mat, et cetera, et cetera. So we start building up ideas of products first. Now, people talk about there's tools like Jungle Scout out there and all of that, which are fine. But what they typically will tell you to do is use it and go, what's hot right now? But the problem with selling hot products on Amazon is everybody's doing that. So what we're doing is we're literally going into each different category and we're saying, okay, well, what's selling right now? How can we start to learn about the category? How can we start to see what products are coming up again and again and again in the top 100? And then what products are related to those and what products are related to those? And on we go. And we start finding products that are not in the top 100, that are in, let's say, they're selling 12,000th best-selling product in, say, the home category. And they're the kind of products we're interested in because they sell a smaller quantity per day. Most people are not finding them with those software tools. And they're kind of what we call boring hidden gems. So even just an example I can just see here, may or may not be a good product, but I see 6-pack fondant impression matte mold set. That's a weird product. And that's just one I just literally saw, and I'd have to research it more. But that's like one that I would never have known someone would even buy that. I would never even come up with that. And that's 19,000 in kitchen and dining. Now, am I saying it's definitely a product I would sell? No. But what I am saying is that's an interesting idea that I can take further, and I can start to see, well, how many other people are selling, fondant impression matte mold sets, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of the basis of it. And like I say, we have a lot of checks and things that we use, that we teach in our program, but that's just to get you started. That's something you can do. Just even to start seeing, it's a great exercise to start seeing what's selling. Because when I started in this business, I was like, am I going to be selling iPads? Am I going to be selling, those things, adapters for more plugs in my house? It was all this random stuff. I had no idea, no system for like even looking at and seeing what is selling. Does that make sense, Corey?
I think absolutely. And I think what you're doing is really innovative in figuring out how to create a sustainable business. See, a lot of people, like you said, go after that fidget spinner, which was totally a fad.
Exactly.
And I know some people who were in the Amazon fulfillment business who talked about how they were left with, and maybe it wasn't fidget spinners, but left with so much excess product because the fad died. They missed it. And instead of doing that, you guys are looking at what are the basic products that are like boring products that people are buying all the time consistently and creating a sustainable business. So that's really great. So you're manually looking for the products in the niche. I love it. And then you guys are looking deeper to see how much volume and to see if it would be a practical product, looking at whether or not it's dangerous, whether it can cause harm to people. Okay, so I'm sitting here, I'm listening to all this. I'm getting excited about the Amazon fulfillment service. All right, so I find a product. Say I'm going to go in there and you know what? I'm going to do plastic measuring spoons because I think that's a great product or something like that, right? Okay. And now I've got the product. I've done all this research. Where do I go? You talk about going to China, and it's not like I go visit. I know there's Alibaba and there's all these different things. Like, where do I go to get more product? And then how do I get that product to Amazon customers? Yeah, great question. So,
just before I go into that, I wanted to share one more thing that will really kind of put the whole Amazon business model that we have into a sort of a bow for everybody, right? So we talk about the rule of 5 we talk about, right? Imagine this for a second, Corey. You've got 5 products that you found that you can sell on Amazon. You sell them in 5 different markets on Amazon. So we talked about European markets. We talked about Amazon.com. Then you're saying you're going to sell 5 units per day, per product, per country. And you're going to make an average of $5 net profit. Now, the net profit figure, that's just to get to this 5 number. But reality is you might be making $10. You might be making $4. It's more of a percentage thing. But just to give you a framework where you guys listening can apply it in your brain to see what happens when you've got a small number of products, making a small number of sales per day in a small number of markets, what can happen? So we have 5 products making 5 sales per day in 5 different countries, and we were making $5 net profit. So it's 5 by 5 by 5 by 5. If we multiply that out, we take it over a 30-day period. So average month is 30 days. We get to a net profit of $18,750. Now, we're not guaranteeing any of that, of course, on the call today. That's not the point. You can make a lot more than that. The point is, that's where the exciting thing is for us. It's in the multiplication of markets and it's in the multiplication of products is where we get results. So because of that, that's why we're looking for these more oddball products, just to put it into a bowl for you. So that's number one. Then just to go to your second question there, you're asking, where do I go to find these products? So what we typically do is Alibaba is a great place to go. No question. I mean, it's a great place to start. It's somewhere where the suppliers are vetted. You can get samples, which we always recommend. You can contact people live. You can speak to them like in chat. All of that. That's a great place to go. You can see how gold rated they are, etc. The only time we move off Alibaba, honestly, is whenever we're in a situation where, we're looking for, say, a product that we can't find in Alibaba. We would use a sourcing agent there. They're difficult to find. We have our own sourcing agents we found over a long time. So typically I tell people, go to Alibaba. You can go to more local sources. So let's say you found your plastic spoons as your example. You could start Googling around for local domestic suppliers in the US, say, and you can find companies and you can ask them, will they private label for you? So many times they're actually going to China themselves and they might do a small run of them for you. Many times they won't. But I've got a friend, for example, is in the hair replacement industry. And one of the things they do is they're a big private labeler. They private label products all the time because their business is more of a distribution style business. So that's two things you'll be looking at. You'll be looking for Alibaba, most likely for China. And the second thing you'll be looking at is a sourcing agent. And then the third thing you'll be looking at is a domestic supplier.
Real quick, just as a general ballpark.
Sure.
For your first product, how much money do you think people would have to invest? I mean, you're talking about, you're not looking at the most expensive products. You're looking at household items. You're looking at oddball products that are pretty boring. What kind of average investment would it take to get to this level where we get a sample and then we're like, all right, we're ready to buy a couple products here. How much money do we need? Yeah,
like we always tell people, you should start with like $1,000 to $3,000 for your first 1 to 3 products is a good ballpark to be in. But it really depends. Anybody who gives black and white answers to that, it's telling you straight away they haven't been in the market for very long, because different products have got different minimum order quantities, which is always based upon what the cost is of the product, what we call the FOB cost. And all that means is basically how much it costs to get it produced and onto a boat. That's essentially what you're looking for. And so if that's
shipping's expensive.
Yeah. If that's a really low cost, like if say $1 or 50 cents, then you're going to have to order a lot of these, because if you're a factory in China producing something, you're not going to produce 10 of something that, is 50 cents or $1. You're going to have to produce 100, 200, 500, whatever the case may be. Equally, if your cost price of your product is like $50, so you're going to sell it for a lot more, it's a bigger item, then you'll probably get away with ordering a lot less. So that's sort of number one. That's kind of your number one thing you'd be looking at. But we always say $1,000 to $3,000.
And you talk about that minimum quantity order, and say you find a product that's really like you get it for $2 from China, you sell it for $8 to $10 on Amazon. Committing to buy 1,000 of a product is a big commitment.
Yeah.
How do you guys edge your risk in that scenario?
Yeah, so number one, we always do a trial order. We never do minimum order quantity on the first order. So there's a number of things you can do. Number one, we typically just say to the factory, we want to test these products in our markets first and see how they perform. They perform well, we will do a minimum order quantity order next. And typically that can go down well. The second thing you can do is you can offer to pay more for your first order to order less. So let's say the cost was $2. You might say, I'll pay $3. You could pay $3.25 or whatever. And that would allow them to produce less but make more because you're paying more per unit. That's another really good strategy that you can employ. Ultimately, though, it's a question of doing your research ahead of time and just feeling confident that, based upon what I'm looking at here, I feel like there's not that much competition. It's looking good. All the signs are pointing to this is something I should bring in. bearing in mind with our system as well, you can sell them in multiple countries. So again, you're further hedging your risk. But the biggest thing is when you know, like if you put $1 into a product and you're turning that into 2, you have a profit on investment. So an increase in your investment of 100%. That's what we always look for. So because you're doubling your money every time you make a sale, you kind of know, look, at the end of the day, if I had to blow this thing out of cost, and I wouldn't be taking a loss, I would be just breaking even, which is totally fine. So the bigger question you ask yourself is, if I order 300 of these, if it's $2 a piece, 600, I got a bit of shipping, if it costs me, say $1,000 to bring in that first order or whatever, you kind of have to look at that and say, if it took me 9 months to sell it out, how many sales do I need to make a day? You divide it out and you look at it and you go, well, 9 months is 9 by 30. So that is going to be 270 days. So basically what you're asking yourself is, in that case, can I make 1 sale a day on average with, hundreds of millions of customers after all the research I've done? And you can feel pretty good about it at that point. So it's really down to trial orders and knowing how to negotiate with your suppliers as well.
I love that trial order idea, offering to pay a little bit more to test it. So you don't have to spend maybe $1,000, maybe you can get away with 200, or, instead of 3,000, you get away with $700.
Yeah, and that's something you gotta, that takes time, and not every factory will negotiate. You might have to move on and find another supplier. Sometimes it can be very helpful as well to use what we call a trading company there. So a trading company is basically a smaller business who have links with a factory, and they're able to order less. They're able to get deals. You pay more to those guys and ladies, but the kind of plus side of it is you can order less. So
where do you find those trading companies at?
It's all on Alibaba. Yeah, you can find them on Alibaba as well.
All right. So we get our product. We do a trial. We're playing with plastic spoons right now, and we order 100 plastic spoon sets. How I get it shipped? Where do I ship it to, and how do I start selling on Amazon?
Super great questions. So again, this is the tricky part for a lot of people. Like there's going to be people out there who are going to tell you can ship it direct to Amazon from China. I can tell you now that's a really bad idea. And the reason it's a bad idea is because sometimes your products can get stuck in customs. Sometimes your supplier can mark Amazon down as what they call the importer of record. And Amazon, that basically means, well, Amazon, you bought these products, so here you go. And then Amazon will receive it and say, we didn't buy them. We're not the importer of record. We're rejecting these. And there's a whole bunch of things that can go wrong. Also, if you're bringing stuff over via air, you're flying it in, for example, which a lot of people do if a product is very small, but we don't recommend it long term because it's not very profitable. If you bring them in via air, like, I don't know if you've seen the videos, but the people working with boxes are not the most gentle. So, you could send those into Amazon and they're beat up. That's not good because Amazon are going to reject those yet again. So we always use what we call a pre-Amazon location. And so there's a number of ways to do it. The best way, honestly, is a company we created. And I'm literally telling you this because this is why we created the business. I will give you alternatives, of course, but we have a superhero freight business whereby basically we have our own warehouse in Houston, Texas for the US. We have our own warehouse in Northern Ireland for the European market. And basically you would send your product to our warehouse. We take it into stock in our warehouse. We then make sure it's all okay. We send you pictures that it arrives safely and all of that. You then create an order within your Amazon account, which basically says, hey, Amazon, I want to send 50 of my units in. I want you to come collect them from me. They'll go, that's fine. Here are your labels. Put them on your boxes. We'll come get them from you. They come collect them from our warehouse, and it goes into Amazon, and they hold it in stock at a very basic level. So we created this shipping company to be a pre-Amazon location, but also we created it because for you to ship via sea, it's the most profitable way to do it. Unfortunately, a lot of freight forwarders, people that would be shipping your goods, they typically try to make a lot of money off small shipments that they have to put into what I would call random containers. And this is called LCL, less than container load. Just to give you a very basic thing, it costs a ton of money. The reason it costs a ton of money is the freight forwarder is trying to make money from you with your small order because it's a small order. So again, we looked at this and we said, what if we did our own containers to our own Amazon, pre-Amazon locations, we could save people a ton of money. So that's what our superhero freight business does. But I will give you a quick alternative. You can ship them to your house, and you can literally do what I just talked about, sending the order to Amazon through your Amazon seller central account. You can create an order in there. They'll come collect it. Or you can use a freight forwarder. But I would not typically recommend freight forwarders now because we have tons of experience with them, and it can just be very tricky to get the service you're looking for.
Awesome. So I like that. Super practical. Just ship it to your house. That would be maybe the easiest. Amazon will give you the labels. And of course, we can always use a service like yours to be able to make it even easier. All right. So I've got my product. I'm ready to start selling some spoons. What do I do?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing you would be looking at, we always kind of come back to, as long as the research is correct, that's the big thing, right? Because I don't know if you can, I won't swear because I'm not sure if you swear on this podcast, but you get, it's crap in, crap out, right? To make it kind of non-sweary. And that's sort of the thing. Like if you haven't spent time in your research and you brought it into stock and you're selling a super competitive item, you're immediately on the back foot. That's why we spend so much time researching in our programs and teaching people how to find these lesser competitive products. But assuming that we have all that in place with our spoons, what we do is we go to competitor listings first. So we look for, we type in, say, plastic. I'm actually going to do it right now on Amazon just so you guys can hear me doing it. Type in plastic spoons, let's just say, to Amazon. Off it goes. So that's what we call the generic keyword. And we started to see, what is selling? What are the key sellers on Amazon? Now, you would have found your best seller when you were doing your research. You would have logged that. This is the product that I found. These are the products that are looking really good. So you would look at their titles and you would say, what are the keywords they're utilizing in their title? So I just typed in plastic spoons. So I'm seeing, and in the organic search results, I'm seeing plastic teaspoons, medium weight, white, 1,000 count. A 500 pack, extra heavy weight, disposable white plastic teaspoons is another listing. And so on and so forth. So you would literally be looking for, what are the keywords that these guys are using all the time? They're typically the primary keywords. Then what you can do is you can go to Amazon itself. You can start typing plastic spoons. And like all the different search networks right now, like Google, YouTube, obviously Amazon, etc., they'll start filling out the results for you. So I typed in plastic spoons and I got plastic spoons bulk, plastic spoons and forks, plastic spoons heavyweight. And you would simply look at those and be like, these are the things people are searching for on Amazon. That's why they're being indexed. And if any of those keywords are relevant to you, you would be utilizing them in your title.
I think that sometimes people don't realize, just like Google, Amazon is a search engine.
Absolutely.
And so these keywords are so important to be able to rank higher when other people, customers, search for your product.
Yes.
So I think that just for people to understand that it really is, now it's one of the biggest search engines out there too, because it's such a huge marketplace.
Yeah. And it's important to remember, the better you can think about what your customer is thinking. I literally spoke to Amazon and, there's all these tools out there, but Amazon themselves are just think about your customer. What are they typing in? And it's so funny. I've got friends of mine, they have a YouTube channel. It's called I Love Basketball. It's a huge one. I'm going to actually look at it now, see how many subscribers it has, but it's like millions of subscribers.
Wow.
I'll tell you now, it's got 1.6 million subscribers, right? And the funny thing is, you would think those guys are using all the tools under the sun with their YouTube business. I can tell you now, they're literally doing what I just talked about. They're going to YouTube and they're typing in their keywords and they're starting to see what are people searching right now, because they're the best keywords you're going to find. Okay. So that's number one. We start there. Then we move on to, we look at all those competitor listings that are doing the best, and we start to see, what do their listings look like? What do their bullet points look like? What do their descriptions look like? And we start to take notes on what are the elements of the products that are doing the best that they always have. We take notes of those and we look to model those. We don't copy them, we model them. Then the third thing I would recommend you do is you go and look at the competitor reviews of the products that you're selling against, and you start to see what are the key things that the bad reviews talked about. What are the things that they said to avoid? What are the things that weren't clear enough about the listing? That's all going to be in the bad reviews. You want to make sure then you deal with those points, those objections on your listing in order to create something that's really appealing. So look, I mean, we have a whole course on it, but that at a very, not so much basic level, but actually really practical level, that's what you do.
So we create this Amazon fulfillment account. Amazon picks up our product. They store it in their own warehouse.
Yep. And
then we go in and we create our description using specific keywords to start selling the product. And assuming, like you said, the research is correct. A lot of times on this podcast, I talk about the 80-20 rule. And the way I use that rule is that 20% of our actions yield 80% of our results. The key is knowing which actions to take.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to get a little bit different here. And I want to know from you, what's the biggest action we should not take? What's the biggest mistake people might make? And then second, what is the biggest action you think we could take to start selling a product today and make money?
Sure, no problem. So the biggest mistake, without question, is people are always looking for the silver bullet. You know, what's the one tactic, the one hack that I can apply right now that's going to make me loads of money really quickly? And a lot of people will say, oh, no, that's not true. I don't feel like that at all. But when you look at their actions, that's exactly what they do. They start into a process for a period of time. I know because I was that person for a while. And then they kind of get a little bit disillusioned when they realize there's something to learn here. There's a bit of work here. There's a little bit of effort required. Oh, what's the next thing I can look at where there's no effort and money just kind of flies out of my computer and gives me paper cuts, as I always say, right? and that's the thing. Like we run four businesses right now, and I'm involved in other businesses. I consult other businesses, and I can tell you something. Every business that I know the world over, they're all really boring. And that's just a reality. So this idea that like entrepreneurship is like so exciting and every day it's like, you know, incredibly exciting and I can't wait to do this. That's something that people told me too. But what I learned was in entrepreneur terms, boring, I'm going to say predictable instead of boring, predictable actions, predictable outcomes are really exciting because you can bank on them. Whereas this whole like up and down kind of crazy roller coaster ride, that's not what you want to create a sustainable business. There's nothing sustainable about that. So that's what to avoid. And the actions you can take right now, honestly, you know, I don't want to just say buy the program because that's kind of weird, but I would say like, you know, don't look at 10 different Amazon people and try and piece together the research process. Go and find somebody, it doesn't have to be me, somebody that makes sense to you, that you're like, that makes sense. I like what they're saying. What they're saying makes sense to me. It's practically correct. And then I'm going to go and learn from that person. Because that's what I did with Robert, my initial mentor, still my business partner to this day. I kind of just said, look, other people out there, I'm sure they have a point, but I'm not listening to them. Equally, like I have a fitness trainer now. I decided to take up golf last year. And I used to go and look for all the information I could. And what I do now is with those specific things, because I don't know enough about them, I went and found people who I trusted, who could teach me. And I basically just went all in learning from those people because they had the results that I wanted. Okay.
Steven, I love that. It is so huge. People that really don't understand that. There's so much information out there. A lot of it's crap. And people get overwhelmed. You want to find somebody who has done what you want to do and can teach you a strategy, and then you follow it. Because if they started exactly where you were at and they made millions or got the body they wanted, whatever it is, now you can follow in their footsteps. And that's why coaching and mentorship is so important. I've got mentors in every area of my life because there's always that next level of success. And Steven, where can we all find you online, learn a little bit more about your program with Marketplace Superheroes? Sure,
yeah. Well, you can go to marketplacesuperheroes.com and there's always no cost training there ready to go that you can get access to. So that would be the first thing to do. I also am on Instagram, Steven with a PHJ. Summers, Steven J. Summers. I'm on there. I'm actually only building my Instagram up now. So I do like daily stories and stuff like that you can definitely connect with me there. It's kind of good because I've got a smaller following there than in my other business. I kind of give a lot of the good stuff there. So it's a good time to follow me now while I don't have a big following. So certainly get over there, connect with me. Because I don't have as big a following as say Facebook, I can respond there very easily. So that's kind of like a little insider tip. for you guys listening.
Cool.
Yeah, they're the two places I'd recommend you go. And, at the end of the day, Corey, to give another thing I think is important here, a lot of people ask the question, if you've done it, if you're successful and you're continually successful, why teach this? Why share this? So I'm going to give you guys two answers before we go. Number one, it's because in order to, if you have a glass that's full, can you fill it anymore? Well, a lot of people would say no. In our case, the answer is yes. The only way I can fill my glass more and I can learn more is by pouring some of the glass out. And I pour the glass out to people who learn from me, and they get a benefit. They go out and they build a business, and that allows me to rise up more. The second thing, very, very quickly, very important, is because we have our other services that we build, our future success always is connected to our clients' successes. So in a way, our evil motivation to have our clients successful is so that we can help them save more money on their freight, etc., and we can have a longer term business relationship with them. So I always say that because it's a question I get all the time. So that's it for me. I don't want to keep on jumping over our time here, but if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Stephen, that was fantastic, man. This has been a great interview. I really appreciate it. And as always, our last question is just, what is your next level of success?
Yeah. So my next level of success, personally, in my health, I'm really working very hard to get myself to a 15% and below body fat. That's a goal I've had. So that's the next level for my body. Relationships, just had a kid recently, a little boy, Harvey. So my next level of my relationships is always spending more time at home in the evenings and being very present with my family. And in business, then, my goal is to impact. I used to have a number, but I just say now, as many people as I possibly can, to help them understand that there's so much more you can do. There's so much more out there for you. You just got to put your hand out, reach out. The resources are there. It's just a matter of changing your mindset and going from a place of how much is this going to cost me to a place of how much can I make? How much can I achieve? How much can I do? So that's it for me.
I love it, Stephen. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
If you enjoyed the show and learned something of value, the one ask that I have is please go subscribe, whether you're on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube. And if you leave us a 5-star rating or review, that absolutely helps us get our message out there. Each week, I'm going to continue to interview amazing people, and we're going to break down their tools and strategies to help get you real results. Feel free to visit the website, unleashsuccess.com, and subscribe to our newsletter so you get updates each week. And remember, knowing is not enough. Knowledge alone is not power. Action is. Because action is the only way you're going to get the results you want in life and truly live the life of your dreams. So take some action, subscribe to the podcast today, and get ready to unleash success in you.